It's the Bitcoin Capitalist Show, and today I have Prime Solutions Tax and Legal, and they are from Panama, and they provide all kinds of services for expats, residency, taxes, creating corporations. So I'm going to let them speak, and we're going to give you guys some information that you're looking for. So
great. Thanks, Travis. Thanks for this invitation. At Prime Solutions Tax and Legal, we support expats that want to relocate to Panama or want to get a residency. The most popular ones are the pensionado and the friendly nations for most expats in Panama that want to stay in Panama. And we also have many others type of residencies, but the permanent type of residencies are the friendly nations and the pensionado, which is for retirees. The friendly nations visa has different type of options. One of them is by investment on property or on a bank account with a fixed term deposit.
So let me interrupt you one second, because I know people are going to get confused. So most people know the Panama friendly nations, where it's you deposit the $5,000 and you instantly got the permanent residency, and they ended that recently. So they're still going under the same name, but it's different rules. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. They changed the rules in 2021.
Okay.
Before, you just made a deposit of $5,000. I think you did that, right?
Yeah, and you create a corporation and you make 2 trips out of the country and got all that stuff. And it was too easy to be true, and I got it. And like 2 weeks after I got it, they ended the program, and I'm just very lucky. And I had been going down there for a while because I had friends down there, and Panama is a great country, and I'm glad I secured that before they changed the rules. So what are the new rules? What are the new rules? Because every person or attorney I talk to will tell you something different every time. So I want to hear from an attorney, and I want to know what the new rules are, and the requirements on investment, everything.
Yes, there's a lot of confusion and information on the internet that is wrong. And I even saw a video that it said that the program was canceled. And it's not canceled. The program is there, but they changed the rules. So you have basically 3 options. One is investing on property. You buy a property in Panama in cash or with a mortgage. The amount is $200,000.
Okay.
The other one, you set up a bank account with $200,000 with a fixed term deposit for 3 years. And the third one is in case you are not interested in investing straight away, but you still want to get permanent residency. So you find a job in a Panama corporation, in Panama company established here, or you set up your own business and you self-employed on that corporation.
Okay. Now, I mean, I'm just curious with the creating your own corporation and employing yourself. Is there like a minimum amount of money that has to be shown so people don't kind of just make up a company and employ themselves and not spend any money?
There are no investment requirements. Okay. So this is very recommended for people that they don't want to invest or they cannot invest that amount of money, but they can still want to have permanent residency, and in exchange, they set up a business here and they try to do something in Panama. There are no minimum investment requirements.
You know what? That's interesting. I've never heard anyone say that, and that seems like kind of a fix for the digital nomad that doesn't want to put his nest egg into Panama real estate. And for me, Panama real estate doesn't make a lot of sense. Like there's a lot of empty places, and during COVID, like they didn't allow foreclosures, and there's just a lot of inventory. And I always look at the prices and like nothing has come down. So, my dream is to own a place in Casco Viejo one day, because that is one of the coolest spots.
Oh yes, it's nice.
Now my question: so when you invest in the real estate and say you pull the trigger and you're going to buy a $200,000 property, as soon as that deal goes through, are you a permanent resident or are you temporary and then become permanent?
First, you're temporary.
Is there any period of time where you're temporary?
Yes, you're temporary for 2 years, and then permanent residency.
Man, so you're going to drop $200,000 and you're still going to be temporary for 2 years? I'm sure all you attorneys are not happy with these rule changes.
We have a
Um,
fast track. I don't know if you heard about the red carpet visa. If you
no,
invest 300,000, you get permanent residency straight away in less than 30 working days.
how much was it again?
300,000.
So 300 gets you the instant.
Yes, but it costs you more on
Yeah.
fees and payment to immigration. So if you are in a hurry for some reason, you better go that way through the red carpet. But if not, you get residency and get permanent in 2 years.
Wow. Well, um, it's interesting though because a lot of countries are offering citizenship for half of that amount of money. Now,
Mhm.
I'm friends with some other attorneys. The attorneys that processed me in Panama, they were pumping like a dozen people a day with the Friendly Nations visa, and that was kind of their bread and butter. They've had to reinvent themselves a lot, and I had to go pick up something from their offices, and they were telling me like they had only processed a handful of people since it changed with the investment visa. Has the process slowed down with people coming in, and from what you've seen firsthand, or are people still just trying to escape and they're willing to pay more? Is it slowed down?
I see more applications from Americans
Mm-hmm.
because of the situation. Many of them they want to come and find a way to come to Panama.
Yeah.
Um, Not so many Europeans, maybe
Okay.
because of the Friendly Nations visa change and it's not that as easy as it used to be. Canadians, but mostly Americans. That hasn't changed. And actually, I see more incoming expats from the United States.
Okay. Now,
Mhm.
do you guys partner with like a real estate firm to help the clients find real estate and stuff like that?
Yes, we
Okay.
partner with several ones depending on what they want. We have one that offers luxury apartments, others that offers um, apartments in Panama City, in the city center, other on the beaches like Coronado, Gorgona, those areas. And
What would you say the most popular place for the expats to do the residency real estate investment is?
right now, Coronado and Gorgona, the beaches, like 1 or 2 hours from here, is very popular nowadays, especially for the retirees. And
Yeah.
then for the younger people, Panama City, the city center, like near the Panama Bay, Cinta
Mhm.
Costera, that area. And then for high profile investors, they like Ocean Reef, Santa Maria,
Now,
Costa del
I have a question, and you have to be honest.
Mhm.
With the ocean reef, is that just totally overvalued and people are into it, or is that happening because like I look at the prices and they're astronomical. I haven't met any foreigner that's ever invested or bought there, and like if you sign up for one of those emails, you're getting like 20 realtors calling you all day and night. So what is your perspective on that project?
Well, actually, someone asked me about that project recently and asked me if it was it was a problem with it because it's like land that is on the sea, like new land that was there. I don't know how to say that exactly,
Yeah,
but
it's man-made land, like what they did out in like Dubai and stuff, where they made an island pretty much.
right, right. And I asked a trusted realtor, and she told me that it's totally legal. That people are investing there. That it's real. It's for
Yeah,
real.
no, I
And
know it's real. I've been there. I'm just curious of like if it's going to be successful or not, because like I was looking at the prices they were trying to get, and
uh-huh.
they're just out of control. And I'm like, and
It's
I haven't met any rich foreigner that's bought a place there or anything. So I kind of think a lot of people are just speculating on that.
mm,
Now on the pensionado, how much was it to qualify? You proven income
1,000.
1,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's not that's pretty cheap. So I mean, if you're on
Yeah.
Social Security, you just prove that, and you can come down to Panama.
Yes. And you get residency in less than 6 months.
Now, where do most of the retirees live? Like, where
Good
are they going?
question. Good question. Many of them they like boquete in
Okay,
city
that's the
pool.
name. I was looking for that, and it looks
Uh-huh.
like kind of cheaper, more relaxed out in the country.
In the mountain area. With different weather, kind of weather.
I haven't been there, but I've heard a lot of good things. And
Yeah, it's
I've
nice.
been to Buenaventura, which is extremely nice. I went out to the like country club and stuff over there. And it's a lot of Americans don't understand how nice like Panama is. When I first started going down years ago, they think it's like this rural country, and I show pictures of the skyline, and it's just incredible. And and if you're from like the U.S., like L.A. to Panama, it's like a 4.5 hour direct flight. So I really think when people get more upset in the U.S., Panama is just an easy option because you can get a direct flight. It's got big city vibes. It's got all the restaurants. It's got a lot of stuff to do. Where like I'm down in Paraguay and some of these other countries, and it's like they don't have the infrastructure that Panama has, and you get all the amenities kind of back home if you live in Panama City, with the construction and everything like that. No, it's interesting. Now, how would someone get the process started with you guys on the real estate investment or the business startup?
Basically, if it's just a single application, the background check from the country of origin. If you're from the US, the FBI background check. If you're Canadian, the RCMP. And they have to be legalized by the Panama consulate, the nearest one.
Okay. Now, my question is, say you're a family and you're going to do the real estate investment there. Do you get to bring your whole family, or is it only good for one person? How does that rule work?
Yes, you can definitely apply with your family, your husband or wife, and with children. Just need to bring their birth certificates and marriage license, and submit a whole application for the whole family.
Okay, but they have to be like blood. They have to be blood family to get on.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's great. And I just wanted to get more clarification because a lot of people are asking me about Panama, and it's like I'm in all these chats with and everyone's like, I had 5 different people tell me a different number on the actual amount of real estate investment, and then all these people, they were lying. They're like, oh, there's ways around this, and I don't believe them. So $200,000. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it is quite a commitment, but I really think Panama's a great place, and it's like, hey, you can make a good investment, turn it into an Airbnb, have a place to go to, when you go down there. So anything else you want to add information to like an expat looking to come down there?
Yes, I wanted to mention also that if you have a fixed income, you can also apply for a mortgage in Panama. So if you show your income from, let's say if you're from the United States, you show your tax returns or your bank movements, you can apply for a mortgage with a local bank in Panama. So I think that's appealing in somehow, or you can rent the property. You don't have to live there. So I think that's a good opportunity, especially right now, because there's a lot of movements right now.
That's another question is, real estate's coming down in the United States a little. They're getting a little bit more strict on loans. How hard is it to get a loan from a Panamanian bank? And is there a specific bank that you recommend expats use to apply for a loan?
There are several banks. I've known that Banco General, Scotiabank, and Banismo are giving loans to expats, because I know they have applied and they had a good result on it. Mm-hmm. And as long as you can show your credit score and your source of income, if you have a fixed source of income, and that's what they look at your income and your credit score.
Okay. No, and the banks are very strict now, because like I went down there and I had to show more documentation than back home to get accounts set up, and I talked a little bit about buying a place, and I was going back and forth at Banismo with a manager there about applying and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. No, that's interesting. Anything else you want to add? Someone potentially coming down, and for the Bitcoin and crypto people, crypto and Bitcoin's not regulated there. It's kind of in a gray area, and they had written a law to legalize, Bitcoin and like crypto assets like that. You can hold them, not make it legal tender or anything. They got all the way to the president's office, and he didn't sign it. So it's leaning more towards adoption, and the taxes are very friendly in Panama. And like if you're American, you still get taxed on your worldwide income. But if you're from like in Australia and these other countries, you have to live somewhere for 4 months, and that's your tax base. So if you come plant a flag, buy a condo in Panama, you could be living there for 4 months, and you have a digital business, dramatically lower your taxes, and you can travel around the rest of the time. Now, what are the taxes like if you have a business in Panama?
Okay, there are different type of rates. The standard for a corporation is 25, but if you are a small 25%, but if you're a small company, you can pay less than that, like 12 or 10% that we call pymes. If you're a physical person, the first 11,000 are exempt, and you pay 15%, 1/5, for the first 50,000 of income, and then 25% above $50,000. Foreign income is exempt. So this is tax that has to be paid if you make money inside the Panamanian territory, because we have a different type of tax system based on source, not on the worldwide income.
Okay. Now, one of my other questions, if someone wants to go the route of creating the business and hiring themselves, what are the costs associated with creating that business? Like, what are the legal fees on that?
Okay. It depends on what exactly you want to do, but the cost is the setup of the company, the legal fees for submitting the application, and the cost that have to be paid to the immigration office. But then the company needs to pay municipality taxes that goes from $12 a month, and depends on the activity. But let's say that administrative services, the taxes are $12 a month. I know that.
Well, that's not that much. I mean, but like, what would you just like a rough estimate of like setting up the company, like a couple $1,000s?
For the work reasons, it's around $5,000. With $5,000, you can apply. It will include the company, the legal fees, and the expenses to set up everything, the whole package.
Okay, that's not too bad. And question: Are these expats that are coming to you, what's the most popular one people are doing? Are they doing the real estate, or are they creating a company and hiring themselves? Or are they doing the investment of the $300,000? Because I mean, not a lot of people are sitting on a ton of cash right now. So I'm just curious, what avenue are you processing the most people in?
Oh, that's a good question. Most of them are doing the one for work reasons.
Okay, work.
Yes, for work, for the friendly nations. But actually, most of my clients are retirees.
Okay, the pension auto.
The more of our volume. And by investment is the second, investment on real estate. And we haven't done any application on the setup on the bank account of the $200,000, because people prefer to buy real estate than having the money there on the bank account sitting there.
Now this will be speculation, but what were the reasons why Panama closed, the Friendly Nations visa? Because it was wildly popular, and Panama, it was a big source of income for the country, and they had had been in place for many years, and because of that, it made Panama a big international hub. A lot of expats, like you go to Casco and you're guys from Hong Kong, this guy's from all over the place. And why would they end that? And I personally saw the impact on the economy, and I know a lot of businesses that were dramatically affected by this negatively. Why? What was the reasoning behind the closure of the Friendly Nations visa?
I think that's my personal opinion.
Yes.
You say it's a speculation, but I think it's because the government wanted people to invest in Panama because of the COVID and the situation after COVID. We had a lot of investments on construction and new developments on the way. So I think they wanted to change the rules because of that.
So pretty much what the government was trying to do was an inverse bailout of the real estate market, because people were coming, they deposit the money, start a company, not spend a lot of money, but but they would spend the money coming to the Panama, the hotels, the restaurants, and then the money was flowing in the country. And they're like, well, let's force them to buy real estate because the real estate market is tanking. And that's what I kind of said earlier was like, they have all these projects, everything's empty, but they didn't allow foreclosures. So like I would look on their websites and there'd be zero on the bankruptcy site. There'd be nothing on there, but the prices would never come down. And I would look at the same condos that have been for sale for 2+ years, and they're asking way too much money. So I think they're trying to enact this to bail out real estate before the market crashed. And it's like, you really think about it. I had a conversation last night. Real estate is kind of the cornerstone of the economy. And when the real estate goes, everything goes, because it's everyone's number one investment. It's how the banks, you borrow your money. So no one wants real estate to go down because the party's over, when that happens. Yes. But in my opinion, I think it had a double negative effect because it cut off all the income of people coming into the country, and maybe starting businesses and stuff like that. And not a lot of people are going to pull the trigger on, buying $200,000 in maybe overvalued Panama real estate. So is that what you've seen? There's been a decrease in investment.
Yes. I understand what you say. We could have more people coming in, right?
Yeah.
Because of that. But on the other side, I'm doing more and more real estate transactions because maybe not because of the change of the friendly nations, but because of other factors outside. Things are going on in other countries, people like
are worried.
Yes, people from Colombia, because of the left-wing governments, the situation in the U.S., violence.
Well, I have a question because I remember real estate was coming down a little, and then there was stuff going on in Peru, and a lot of wealthy Peruvians came in and were bailing out the real estate. Are there still a lot of wealthy Peruvians coming to Panama, or did that surge already kind of happen?
Yes, you're right. Most of them, for what I've seen, because I haven't treated so much with Peruvians, they apply for the red carpet visa.
Yeah.
Especially when the government was changed. But I've seen more people from Colombia.
Really? Okay.
I think because of it's closer to Panama, buying real estate right now.
Now, what would it cost? Say you're worth $100 million and you don't want to mess around with any of this and you just want to buy citizenship. Is that possible?
No, in Panama, you cannot buy citizenship. You have to wait 5 years and apply. It takes several years to get citizenship. It's not like in the Caribbean islands or other places that you can just donate money.
Yeah, Paraguay doesn't allow that either. You got to put your 3 years in there. There's no instant passport. Now, one of the downsides, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is when you get the permanent residency, it is pretty difficult to go from the permanent residency to apply for citizenship. And it's a minimum of 5 years before you can apply.
Exactly.
For citizenship. And from what I've heard is not a lot of people get that. And you might have to be connected or know the right people. But, I've heard stories, people living for a decade plus in Panama, and they haven't been able to get their citizenship. So what's the success rate on converting a permanent residency into a citizenship? And do you have any tips for people interested in living there long-term and acquiring a passport?
I recommend it for the young people because it takes time.
Okay.
Definitely. And I think this is the reason why many of the applications that maybe they didn't finish or for some reason, because it takes a long time. At least 3 years, 3, 4, 5 years after the 5 years residency. It's a long process.
Oh, wow.
And it has to be approved by the president of Panama, so
each person?
Yes, personally. Wow. It has to be published in the Gazette. It's a long time. So Panamanian citizenship is for someone that is patient and wants. It's not like to do it on an investment, like a citizen by investment. No, not really.
Now, I was just talking about this because, I'm into Bitcoin, and El Salvador's, they're making a lot of moves. They're cleaning up crime. And I really think that they're going to roll out like a friendly nations visa, like an easy permanent residency. And they're going to come out with a program and attract a lot of people. And, I was kind of saying, I'm like, Paraguay just made theirs harder. They going from permanent, now you're temporary for 2 years, and a lot can happen in 2 years. They might not even honor that in 2 years. And Panama's complicated it, And I'm just curious. I'm like, hey, if some other countries in the region start offering a very streamlined, it's going to attract money out of Panama and stuff. And I'm just curious, like, do you think the government there's too ingrained in their ways, or if they really see the effect negatively on their economy, do you think they could reverse some of these actions and bring back the easier process? And for me personally, I'm like a perfect test case. Is like, I didn't know anything about Panama. They had the easy friendly nations visa. So I went down there, I got that. And then it's like, oh, you feel comfortable. Let's start a business. Let's invest here. And then I learn more about it. Oh, I want to buy a property. But not many people that haven't been there or looking are just going to come in cold turkey and invest, $200,000 plus. Like, they need to know the country. And I like the friendly nations because it got people in the door. Yeah, some people are just going to get it and not invest, but I think a lot of them they'll like what they'll see and then they'll invest, where it's a big turnoff where they're asking so much up front. So my question is, like, do you think if the Panama economy keeps tanking and other neighboring countries are offering an easier program, do you think they could ever reverse or simplify it back to the original deal once they realize it's not really helping real estate?
I think that's a good question. And that will depend on the new government in 2024, because we have new elections. So
Okay.
that will be a big decision for the new government in 2024.
Yeah.
Yes, because I know this government won't change the rules because they only have one more year, more or less.
So it will have to wait till the next election. And
Mm-hmm.
and it's weird because Panama is usually just one of the most stable countries. And, they made international headlines with the protests shutting down the streets, which is very abnormal, for Panama. And all that kind of seems to have subsided. Now, didn't they institute some price controls, and then that kind of ended the protests on the street and things are back to normal?
Yeah, some subsidies for gas and also arrangements about food prices and things like that were done. So now things are in peace.
Okay, that's good, because the one downside to Panama is the traffic is really bad. And when it rains, it's like, don't even try driving. And then it's like, oh man, and then you throw in people protesting on the streets. I'm like, oh, you're never going to get anywhere. And I don't understand it because, like, the infrastructure is so first class. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on with the roads. Like, and the one bridge, there's that one bridge going over, and it's like, hey, if you're a rush hour, it's rough.
Yes, you get traffic on, especially on peak hours.
Yeah, but most expats, they don't have a car. You're just walking around, living in Casco, having a good time. Well, thank you so much for the time, and we'll do another interview later. I'm sure people are going to have, a gazillion questions that I forgot to ask, and we can cover it. Prime Solutions and Tax is in my Telegram group, so you can ask them questions. You can reach out to them, and I'm going to be publishing some of their how-to on the residency and the investments on my Substack, so you can get the actual details in there. So thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye, Travis.